What's up guys, how are you guys doing? In this video we're gonna be talking about the team setup process in Star Savior. Okay, in this video we are not gonna be talking about which character is best to use which. That will have to wait until the game comes out, so that way we can actually test it ourselves and decide. Okay, but for now we're just gonna be talking about the team, okay, setup process right here. Okay, and then of course we're gonna be using the hideout guides and also Tychera website right here. And when it comes to Tychera right here, I'm able to use a team builder feature thanks to this comment right by Cameo. So thanks Cameo right here. But yeah, let's get to the video. So I'll be mainly talking about how you guys should be setting up your team, and especially when it comes to like rerolling. If you guys are rerolling, what kind of team combination you guys should be aiming for. Okay, so yeah, let's get to this. So the first thing you guys need to keep in mind when it comes to Star Savior is the different class. Okay, in this game there are 6 different classes, and the classes actually matter, and also the placement of characters inside the team actually matters as well. Okay, so the first class we're gonna be talking about is defenders. Defenders are your general tank character right here. Okay, so yeah, and tank character are going to be very important in this game because of how the team setup works. Okay, and then you have your normal striker slash DPS cards right here, right, who are like who will be dealing the most damage and stuff like that. Okay, and then you have your ranger class. Ranger class also another DPS class right here, but they are a mix of debuffers as well, right? So this character, the Bunny Girl Scarlet, is a debuffer. For example, Lydia is also a debuffer, but she's also a DPS. But Lacey is a full-on DPS character, right? And people use her as a tank as well, right? Because of her kit. And then you have your caster class, who are like your mage class. Okay, and then you have your general healer class right here, right, slash support characters as well. And then you have your assassin class, right? These assassins are really good against single target enemies. So normally they are usually used in PvP most of the time. Okay, because PvP, if you want to kill that one specific character that's going to be causing the most problem, you're going to be using assassins in order to take out that one character. Okay, but they are not really good. They are not good when it comes to PvE. In PvE you ideally want to use AoE DPS characters, okay, just to kill the mobs and also do damage to the main boss and stuff like that. Okay, anyways, that is all about the classes. Now we're gonna get to the team setup process. Okay, in this game, you when you are rerolling or when you are trying to play this game, you want to keep in mind that you need to have at least one tank, one healer right here, and of course one main support right here, and you're gonna be using one main DPS card. Okay, so that's what you guys should be going for. And when it comes to, if you look at this setup team setup screen, there's different tags for each card, right? So or row right here. So there's 2 rows for the front, right? So front row and front row 2 right here, and you got the back row and back row 2, right? This is kind of self-explanatory, but I already went over this. What this pretty much means is you want to make sure you are putting your main tank in the front row 2 section right here, because when you put them here, they're actually gonna have 80% chance to get focused by the enemy and get attacked by the enemy. Okay, so if you put a tank here, a dedicated tank here, you will be easily protecting your main buffers slash DPS characters who are in the back row, right? So you want to put your squishy characters like buffers and DPS characters, or even debuffers, right? Debuffers in the back row, so they could survive longer, right? Of course, if the enemy uses AoE attack, they will be, all of them going to be targeted, so that it's not going to protect you from that. But when it comes to single target, you definitely want to put a tank here, so the enemy's attack will be focused on the tank right here. And then next up is you have the front row 1 right here, and the characters who are in the front row 1 right here, they're actually going to have 20% chance to get attacked. So if the tank dies somehow, then the enemy will be focusing these characters right here. Okay, so when you set up a team, you ideally want to put somebody that could tank very nicely, right? Doesn't have to be a tank, but a character that could tank the incoming damage, right? So for example, somebody like Ashura is going to be really good choice to put in the front row right here. because everything scales with her HP, so she will naturally have a very high HP, and she's also a healer. So if she takes a bunch of damage, she actually just heals herself while healing your entire team, right? So yeah, so she's not going to be dying anytime soon, right? So very good character right here. Or you could put somebody like Lacey right here as well, right? Lacey is another really good character that could tank very nicely when it comes to her kit, because of her Entangled Dream stack mechanic. Okay, when she have Entangled Dream stacks, whenever she gets hit, she actually heals herself, which is amazing, right? So you could put somebody like Lacey here as well, right? Of course, Lacey can be used as main DPS as well, so you guys can put her in this section as well if you guys want, right? Where is Lacey? Yeah, so you guys can put Lacey in this team as well, right? In this role right here as well, all right? Because she could be used as main DPS as well, but you guys can put her in this role as well. But you ideally want to put your healers here because they usually scale with HP, so they're gonna have natural high HP, and they will be surviving very easily, right? But of course, there's different things you guys can set up. But the natural way to set up a team is having a tank, a healer, a buffer right here, and a main DPS. Okay. But if you guys don't care about surviving that much, and if you guys are like trying to just nuke the boss and get it done with like a one turn and stuff like that, then you could do something like this, right? So you could put, you could keep your healer, but you're gonna put like buffer right here, right? So you could switch it like this, right? So you could put your healer here, so they could tank a little bit, since they tank very nicely. So you're gonna put your healer in the tank role, but then you're gonna put your extra tanky buffer / debuffer card in here, and then you use this right here. So it's going to be like a debuffer, healer, support character, and a main DPS right here. This is another way to do it. Of course, let's just do it like this, not like that actually. Let me put this, right? So this is going to be your main buffer right here for your team. She's going to be your main healer, and she's going to be your main debuffer. Actually, you're going to put her here, and then you have your main DPS. So you could do something like this if you guys are not worried about dying anytime soon, right? So yeah, or if you are feeling a little risky and you guys don't want to use any healer, then you guys can use 3 buffers right here, okay? So you could put your debuffers in the front, and then you put your another buffer right here, and then you have 2 buffers that are going to be giga buffing your main DPS, and then you have 1 debuffer in the middle that will be messing up with the enemy's capability, right? Somebody like Skarlet is a really good debuffers because of her kit. What her kit is, her ultimate is really good, right? Because Skarlet, so what it does is Skarlet fires a large pinball dealing damage to all enemies. There is a 75% chance that all enemies will be slowed down for 1 turn. The cooldown of the skill is reduced by 1 turn for each 7 ball. Each 7 ball. That 7 ball is a stacking mechanic she have on her kit, and then Skarlet possesses, if there are 3 7 balls, the cooldown of the skill resets, which is amazing. And the reason she's a really good debuffer is because of this speed down mechanic, right? She's gonna be doing AoE damage, and she's gonna be giving the enemy a 20% speed down debuff. So they would not be taking turns, right? They're gonna be slowed down before they take a turn, right? So very good debuff right here. And of course, you also have another debuff right here that prevent them from healing. So which is amazing, right? So Skarlet throws the plate. This is her skill, all right? She was holding 100% chance to inflict recovery down to the enemy for 2 turns. Skarlet takes an extra turn as well, right? So you ideally, whenever you use her, you could use her skill, and then you get the extra turn, and she'll be going again, and then you use her ultimate right here, and then just slow them down, right? So very good right here, right? So she's a very good debuffer if you guys are trying to go for this kind of setup, right? Or if you guys don't want to use debuffers, then you guys can't just go crazy and just put I'm saying 3 buffers in here, right? You put 3 buffers, you're gonna make like giga buff your main DPS and just nuke the stage, right? That's also another way to play, but I would not recommend it. You ideally want to put 1 tank here, 1 healer, 1 buffer or debuffer, and then your main DPS right here, right? That's the best way to play this, but right, if you guys are feeling risky, you guys can do something like this as well, right? And it works, I think. But of course, when it comes to late game, you're definitely gonna need tanks, because you are not gonna be able to one-shot in the game content. Okay, so you definitely want to use at least one tank in your setup right here. Okay, but yeah, of course, if you look at some of the buffers in this game, for example, somebody like Charlotte is an amazing single target buffer right here. That's also another thing you guys can, right? If you guys don't want to do AoE buffs, you guys can also put somebody that could only single target buff, right? So these two, they only buff single target, and then you put somebody like let me see, I think she's AoE buffer. We're gonna look for, so for example, like these two, they have really good single target buffs. So let me show you what I mean, right? So if you look at Charlotte, for example, right here, she's very good. So her skill right here is amazing, right? Gives one ally the determination to win. Increase the target's ally critical hit rate for 2 turns, which is amazing. And additionally, grant the target ally 100% chance of increasing attack power for 1 turn and grant an extra turn to the user, right? Look at this, right? With this one skill only, she's going to be providing a 30% critical rate increase and also a 30% attack increase to one ally, right? Which is amazing. This is a very, very good single target buff right here, right? So you could definitely do something like that. And if we look at somebody like Sierra, she's also another amazing single target buffer. Let me show you guys if I can find her. There she is, right? So what she does is right here, summons a swarm of butterflies shining in the starlight of strength allies, right? And then what she does is increase the attack power of the target ally for 2 turns and increase the action gauge by 25%. After that, Sierra receives an extra turn as well, right? So this chick, she gives a 30% attack power increase and also a 25% turn gauge increase, which is amazing right here, right? Because that means your main DPS will be taking a lot more turns as well, right? Of course, she also does her, if you Nova Bursted, after using the skill, recovers 1 string and increase the action gauge gain by 50%, right? Which is insane, right? So she can give you up to 50% action gauge increase, which is insane, right? So this is another really good single target DPS character, right? So that's what I mean, right? So you guys can definitely use 1 AoE buffer maybe, and then 2 single target buffers. So you guys can put all the buffs on your main DPS and then just, you know, nuke the stage with that. Okay, so that's what I mean when it comes to tip setup. It's pretty simple and easy to understand. And yeah, that's it for the video. Let me know if you guys like or, you know, don't like the tip setup process in this game. And of course, let me know what you guys think about this as well, right? And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe, and bye bye.